Hi, with India all set to launch Chandrayaan-3, the moon has come into the focus. The mission for India is a significant, unique and prestigious. I am with Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, Honorable Minister for Science and Technology. Sir also holds multiple positions including Department of Space, Department of Atomic Energy. Sir, welcome to ET Government.
Thank you.
Sir, Chandrayaan-3 is on a follow-on mission of Chandrayaan-2 to demonstrate end-to-end capability in safe landing, roving on the lunar, and also to conduct in situ scientific experiments. How do you describe the Chandrayaan-3 in your?
See, broadly speaking, three aspects come out very notably. That the Chandrayaan series of our missions have opened new vistas for the space research and development across the world, not only for India. Like, for example, even though we started off late, and even though America was the first country to launch a human being actually, to land a human being on the surface of the moon, it was Chandrayaan-1 which went and picked up the pictures of the presence of water on the surface of moon. So the human being who had landed there, took a stroll there, could not catch the glimpse of the presence of water for whatever reasons. It was our mission. So since then, the whole world, particularly the space fraternity, looks up to Chandrayaan with a great amount of anticipation, expectation, hope that they would find some new cues out of this. So that is one aspect. The other aspect is that now that we are part of an elite club of just about 4 nations who are venturing into the space.
Okay.
So India's march to the moon can no longer be delayed. We are now at par with the other countries. Prime Minister Modi's recent visit to USA abundantly proved that no longer USA is seen as a country being superior in its space capabilities. Rather, the USA itself looks up to India as an equal collaborator. That is why today in the International Space Station, which is set up by the USA, it is the NASA and the US agencies which are soliciting India's astronaut to accompany them to the international. So that is the kind of value they accord to India's capability, and particularly after Prime Minister Modi opened up space sector to the private public participation, to the wider collaboration, to wider synergism. Within 2-3 years, we have an interface called InSpace, we have a PSU called New Space India Limited, we have more than 140 startups. So that has suddenly, amused the world, bewildered the world. They never thought that we would be able to make such a quantum jump. So in a scenario like this, our Chandrayaan mission is a mission which signals the march to moon one step closer. So we are marching one step closer to the moon. And at the same time, our pace of march is not lagging behind other countries. And third, which is not much talked about, but I think in the space community this might be discussed. Earlier on, the objective or the purpose of most of these missions was to observe moon from moon. Moon from moon. So you are on the moon and then you are observing. This time we are also going to experiment with observing Earth from moon. So it will be both ways, twofold. Moon from moon and Earth from moon also, because there are certain aspects, certain facets of Earth planet also which will be discovered, because we have now rather upgraded or taken this mission to the next level. And of course, the 3 components, as we all of us know by now, the propulsion module, the lander module, and the rover, they would be conducting the experiments there, a real-time basis also, but at the same time also covering certain facets of the Earth planet. And that would be able to correlate what is there common or not common between the 2 planets, which might have some kind of a bearing with the future possibility of a human habitat, which was again pointed out by Chandrayaan-1 by the presence of water there.
Thank you, sir. Sir, the moon could also act as a heaven for research into radio astronomy. Are you considering it? Are we decoding the moon?
No, certainly, as I said, this is observing moon from moon. We were certainly using it. How best to use the unexplored mysteries of the universe, to explore them, to discover them, and find out what can we put to use to bring ease of living or comfort of living to the human being living on the earth planet. So all this is actually aimed at finally achieving that kind of a situation where the entire universe is tied down into a single entity to enable a mortal being living on the earth to have a better living, and also the is able to keep with the fast moving technologies, which are again to a great extent related to the space technology. And I think one other aspect in the Modi regime has been that even though we take pride today in Chandrayaan and all such missions, the world also is now acknowledging this, we have not confined ourselves only to launching of rockets. I think we showed the world the path of using space technology for sectoral development, for improving our household living. It is in the last 7-8 years, space technology has entered virtually every Indian household. It's being used in the construction of smart cities, railways, railway tracks, railway bridges, roads, highways, telemedicine, agriculture, everywhere. And India has shown the way. So I think we are now in a position, as Prime Minister Modi keeps reiterating, Amrit Kal, the next 25 years when we will be reaching the next pedestal. I think that ascent has started via space. So India has already started rising to that pedestal, and the rise, the first destination of that rise is space and ISRO as far as we are concerned.
Sir, global community and global space leaders, this Chandrayaan-3 mission is attracted by global space leaders, and how, for space is concerned, international cooperation is very, very important element. How do you see the relations between India and other global leaders?
No, I agree with you. See, incidentally, this is a very pleasant coincidence. 2023 is also the year of International Year of Millets, which was proposed by India through Prime Minister Modi. This is also the year when, at the behest of Prime Minister Modi, India is hosting G20. And this is also the year when we have shown our excellence and have been acknowledged for our space capability, space supremacy. And that is why, and I'm linking it with what you asked about the collaboration is not only being sought by India for its value addition. Collaboration is also being sought by the so-called developed nations for their value addition, which might not have been imagined about 20 years back. Today, when Prime Minister Modi visits USA, it is US which solicits our astronaut for international space. It is US which is keen to have an Artemis agreement, including India as one of the signatories. So the collaboration has now reached an equal level. I think one of the greatest hallmarks of 2023 is that world today acknowledges India as an equal global player in various sectors, including space. And that has also enhanced India's role in the global arena. When you are talking of global players, no longer, you see, if you recall, just about 20 years back, India was not taken seriously as a country which would think of progressive themes like climate change or clean energy. They thought India is a country which is beset with its own share of problems. It's only talking of famines and floods and poverty and all those things. So this set of subjects were left to a different kind of world. The so-called progressive world, the so-called developed world, the so-called more civilized or educated world. But today, it is Prime Minister Modi who is laying down the target in COP meeting. He says by 2070, India will be net zero. It is he who is championing the cause of climate concerns. It is he who is leading the mission hydrogen and giving out the world the confidence that soon India may be a major exporter of green hydrogen. So I think now we are in a position in this regime that we have seized all the global concerns. We are ready to live up to global parameters and to meet the global challenges as effectively or maybe more effectively than some of the those nations which call themselves developed nations.
Sir, you have a significant development. The Chandrayaan-3 mission is in the pipeline. On the heels of the latest new space policy is out. And how do you see the space as a sector aligning with the overall India's business vision or economy development?
No, I'm glad you asked this. First of all, I think again the credit goes to Prime Minister Modi for having unlocked space sector. Because I firmly believe that growth in any sector today cannot be accomplished to the fullest extent if we work in silos. So it has to be integration between private and public sector, and a larger integration, public-private here plus public-private internationally. And that is what India's space program, or the ISRO, after this new space policy in the last 3-4 years, has set an example before the world. And very few, or maybe hardly anybody, would have thought till a few decades ago that India will not only be using the facility provided by the countries like US and Soviet Union, it will also be in a position to provide its own facility to them. Today from Sriharikota we have launchings from USA, from Russia, from UK, from France, from Japan. Secondly, nobody could have thought that India would also start making revenue out of space. Today we have something called space economy, which has emerged as a new term in vogue. And they look forward to be 1 trillion space economy in the years to come. So, and I firmly believe that in the next 25 years of ascent, the build-up to India's future economy will be contributed to a great extent by space sector. So, space economy could be an important component of India's future economy.
Sir, my last question. Of course, space is on the roll, and the sector is being built, developed by the supported by the policy, and the administration reforms are happening. How do you see the impact of the space sector on the education system that we have today? For example, astronomy, astrospace. Do you see that there will be many takers for space in the long way to go?
No, absolutely. Space and education have a multilateral relationship. One at the level that you are mentioning, study of astrophysics, study of the various nuances of space, study of the various mysteries related to the space. B, space technology is also a medium of education in conventional areas, like tele-education. You could read geography through space technology, you could read history through. It has also become a medium of instruction for various competitive exams. We have instances, stories of boys sitting under Wi-Fi in a railway station preparing for civil service exam. And therefore, education and space share a multilateral relationship, which is, on one hand, education related to space, and the other hand, education not related to space, but being acquired through space. So it's a very fascinating and an interesting phenomenon.
Sir, as part of the international collaboration that we have globally, are you looking at opening the resources that we have today, launching the Chandrayaan-3 for our country's benefit? Do you see in future we extend the similar resources to other friendly countries?
No, see, how the future will shape up is a different story, but yes, we have already entered into an age where space is no longer working behind a wheel of secrecy. It's already come out in the open, and we are proud of our space achievements. And I think in the years to come, space sector, as I said, would be one sector which will be influencing every other sector. And since I said India can't be working in isolation, nor can any other country, so when we are part of the global world, it will be a global space. So, as Prime Minister said the other day, space is not the limit, contrary to what is the popular idiom. So, similarly, I would rather say that India's ascent has started through space. for India now, going beyond space is what the world is looking for.
Sir, our best wishes on behalf of Economic Times to your ministry and ISRO and scientists for the successful of this Chandrayaan-3 mission, and any message to the space startups on this occasion.
I think if you go by the startups that we have and the recent launchings by them, Skyroot, etc., we not only have some of the world-class startups, we have some of the startups who are the first of their kind. So as I said, our human resource is huge, right from the times of Sarabhai till now. Only we didn't have an enabling milieu, which could have been provided by the policy planners, by the political leadership. Mercifully, Prime Minister Modi has made up for that. So I think this is one of the best times happening. Best times happening for startups in India. Best time happening for those who want to be pioneers in the newer areas like spacecraft is one of the most recent areas, and we are now also attracting startups in that. So how best are we able to avail? And when you combine it with artificial intelligence, the results become manifold, the outcomes get enhanced. So I think it's now up to us, particularly the youngsters, how best they make use of it. Because the milieu is available, the aspirations are there, and the outlets are there. Earlier on there was aspiration, but there was no outlet. And space technology is not only meant for studying space, it's also meant for studying everything else through space. So I think space has occupied so much space in our lives now. The virtually entire space in our day-to-day living or day-to-day life is occupied by this space.
Thank you, sir. This is what the interview with the Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Department of Space, Department of Atomic Energy, Prime Minister Office. Thank you very much.